Y'all need to leave Tom Holland alone and stop slandering him in these comment sections.
Slander is spoken. In print, it's libel.
Whatever, you know what I mean. And just so we're clear, I'm not talking about the fake video where he's reacting to Zendaya's Challenges movie, or the clip from the show where he, got into a fender bender with a black guy. I'm not even talking about the Uncharted movie. I'm strictly talking about his role as Spider-Man. Everywhere I go online since No Way Home released, people have been taking Tom for granted because of all the nostalgia that came with Tobey and Andrew. And don't misunderstand me, I don't want any smoke with Tobey Maguire fans. If you want my opinion on him, I think he's the GOAT! The GOAT! I'll also just say up top that Spider-Man 2 is my favorite cinema-going experience of all time, and my favorite Spider-Man movie overall. I've watched it probably 40 times, start to finish, and I'm not even exaggerating. This scene with Dr. Octavius still has not been topped by any of the subsequent films, and I wonder if it ever will be. But back to my boy Tom. The comparisons always go something like, Tobey is the best Peter Parker, Andrew is the best Spider-Man, and Tom exists. Or when they're being charitable, they'll say Tobey is special, Andrew is the best actor to play Spider-Man, and Tom is the most athletic. Or some condescending backhanded compliment like that. Like Tom Holland is only good at flips. All the slander has gotten to where he's even questioning whether he wants to continue playing the character, which is a tragedy if you ask me. In my opinion, Tom has been the most balanced Spider-Man overall, but that's probably because he's played the character the longest. He's had more time to inhabit Spidey than Tobey and Andrew did, but he also had the luck of good writers and directors all through his run thus far. I'll start by addressing the valid criticisms. Everyone calls him Iron Man Jr., which is very fair. Making him a Tony Stark trust fund baby superhero definitely hurt him as both Peter and Spider-Man. I've said it a million times, Spidey is my guy. But in the MCU, I identified more with Captain America than I did with Spidey until we got to Spider-Man Far From Home. The giddy, eager beaver version of Peter was a little annoying, and it was hard to relate to someone who has all of Tony Stark's resources at his disposal when times would get rough. But as we went deeper into the story in the subsequent movies, he started to feel the weight of his responsibilities, and it made him a lot more relatable. Everyone likes Spider-Man when things are going against him because it makes him more empathetic. He's the underdog who everyone roots for to win. In fact, in the comics I read, he always represented the reader when he was interacting with the Avengers, and you just wanted to see him come out on top. That's why he's the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Any issues associated with the character's Tony Stark trust fund persona on any level can be laid at the feet of Kevin Feige, not Tom. The other issue some people had was Ned, and feel free to call me some people. I hated how this Miles Morales universe take on Ned Leeds was thrown in and made the supporting lead in these movies. He started getting on my nerves very quickly, like Cisco from the CW. The side characters were also changed a lot for reasons that are beyond my understanding, but again, that had nothing to do with Tom. If we're just assessing the merits of this version of Spider-Man, he was kind, compassionate, eager to help, ready to put himself on the line for others, and in all his jokes and quips, there was never a single mean-spirited agenda behind them. He was just this nervous kid who wanted to do the right thing. Put a pin in that, we'll come back to it. I think Tom's acting range in these movies was pretty insane and Oscar-worthy in several moments. He could believably play the same character consistently across every situation and every emotion that the scriptwriters would throw at him, and he delivered every scene without a single blemish. I defy you to show me one scene in all these movies that he did not act to perfection. And given the number of scenes he's been in, that's really impressive. From excitement to tension to fear to dread to fury, he delivered on every emotion like a veteran actor. He was especially in rare form in Spider-Man No Way Home, and to discount how well he carried that movie because our old friends came onto the scene is really unfair. I was actually baffled by people who said that Andrew stole that movie. Tom was exceptional in No Way Home, and anyone who says otherwise needs to reevaluate their ability to appreciate acting. But if you've watched some of my previous videos, you might suspect that this whole video was a Trojan horse to get me in the door so I can talk about what I really wanted to say. And if this is your first time watching my videos, well, all I can say is,
gotcha. Gotcha.
I don't want to fight Spider-Man fans again on this video like I did in my Insomniac Spider-Man game reviews, so I'll choose my words very carefully. On second thought, screw it.
I don't want peace. I want problems, always!
The not-so-amazing Spider-Man movies are atrocious, and this attempt to try and redeem them or rewrite history with nostalgia glasses is just... no. No. We're not doing that. I genuinely was going to walk out of the Amazing Spider-Man movie. My brother was there as well and he wanted to leave too, but the only reason we didn't was because my sister bought the tickets and as a non-Spider-Man fan, she was having a good time. That's the only reason why we stayed. But if you look at that entire movie, other than Peter being too cool for school, Andrew's portrayal of the character was just an angsty bully. There was nothing friendly or neighborhoodly or Spider-Man-ly about him. Everything he did in that movie paralleled Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man after he got the Venom symbiote. He didn't care about protecting his secret identity. He was horrible to everyone, including the people who were close to him, and he just walked around moody like an emo kid who thinks he's so misunderstood. Any one angsty scene could probably have been fine in isolation, but scene after scene after scene, he was just constantly angry and selfish. It's like some of these scenes were written by a 6-year-old who was thinking of what it would be like to have superpowers in school. Can you just imagine what would have happened if Andrew's Spider-Man got the Venom symbiote? That would have been tragedy for New York. I highly suspect the people who championed this version were kids when the movie came out, and it was probably their first Spider-Man movie. I defend a lot of bad movies I saw when I was a kid because of nostalgia, so I get it. I'm not attacking anyone. You can have your preference, but calling him the best or a great but misunderstood Spider-Man is a serious stretch, Armstrong. I would actually equate him to Henry Cavill's Superman. He was a great choice of actor for the role, but horribly mischaracterized.
I don't even know why I'm listening to you. You're not my dad. You're just some guy who found me in a field.
Please tell me.
And May, please, please, please go to sleep.
I can't sleep.
Also, beyond everything I can tear apart, the writing in these movies was not very good.
Yeah.
I was washing the American flag. Can I please
No
just...
one washes a flag.
I do,
You know
and I
what?
won't anymore. Forget
This
it. Fine.
is
Can I just do my...
my
It's just
machine.
underwear.
This is
Please.
my laundry, my home, my machine. Back off. Eat your breakfast. What happened to your face? It's filthy.
It is?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I was cleaning the chimney.
We have no chimney.
What?
You're late.
I know.
But people will say that those scenes are funny. Logically, it just doesn't work unless Aunt May is insane or an idiot. And just so we don't misconstrue anything I'm saying, when they decided to recast Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield was replacing him as Spider-Man, nobody was happier than me. And not because I hated Tobey. We've already established that he's
The GOAT! The GOAT!
But because there were some shortcomings with Tobey's portrayal and I had just watched The Social Network, I thought we were going to get an empathetic Peter who gets beaten down by the system but strives to help others in spite of it. One who, even when he gets angry, you understand his principles and spite is never a factor in addressing his issues with other people. One who is only in it for justice. A Peter who puts himself and his needs aside for the good of others.
I need you. I'm here for you.
Because
with great power comes great responsibility.
And when a better writer and director got their hands on Andrew, you noticed that that was a main point that they needed to address before they could move forward with his redemption. We needed to establish that he was not any of the things I just mentioned and it led him down a dark road, because that's definitely where that character was going. So now that we've established what was bad with Andrew's Spider-Man, let's talk about the qualities of an ideal Spider-Man, which I alluded to when talking about Tom. If you've watched the Peanuts movie from 2015, there was a new girl in town. Charlie Brown instantly took a liking to her, but he was always tired of being the butt of the joke among his friends. He thought the school talent show was the perfect opportunity for a new beginning, where he would impress everyone and have the new girl see him as much more than he has been, without the baggage of all his past screw-ups. A very relatable goal, but while waiting to go on stage, his sister's act started to bomb, and the crowd was turning against her. Watching her up there, literally on the verge of tears, Charlie put his goal aside and decided to potentially make a fool of himself and save her from the embarrassment that she was about to experience. Maybe it's because he knew how it felt, or maybe he hated to see his sister cry, or maybe he was just being a good big brother. Whatever the reason for it was, he put aside his shallow goal of chasing popularity and rescued his little sister, ultimately making a fool of himself in the process. If you ask me, I'd say he probably did it because that's what the script writers wrote. But also, I think he did it because he was vastly more capable and experienced in dealing with the consequences of public embarrassment way more than his little sister was. And you know what? That's Spider-Man to me. The underdog, the man of the people, the guy who protects his secret identity at all costs for the ones he loves, and the guy who doesn't need to advertise that he's stronger than the bully or embarrass other people so that he can prove that he's better than them to the public. He's not in a popularity contest, he's not too cool for school, he doesn't bully the police because he knows he needs to win them over and show that he's a force for good, and he's just not a D-bag in general. He's just a kid from the neighborhood who wants to do the right thing. It's that simple. I'm trying to be very diplomatic, but Amazing Spider-Man 1 offends me deeply. It may come as a shock to everyone, but Amazing Spider-Man 2 was much more tolerable to me than the first film. Partly because we were already in the dumpster and I had gotten used to the stench. The opening scene alone is one that I watch from time to time because it's probably the only part of those two movies that I did not think was horrendous. So I'm well aware that this portion of the video is what will get me all the dislikes, but
Search your feelings, you know it to be true.
to which all the Amazing Spider-Man fans said,
No!
But that's all I got for you. Tom Holland is a great Spider-Man, and I genuinely hope we'll get that fourth movie, where he can stand on his own without the baggage that the MCU had given him. Please, no more sidekicks. Tom on his own is perfectly poised to deliver an iconic Spider-Man movie in New York City, so y'all leave that boy alone and let him be great. Let me know your favorite version of Spider-Man across the comics, TV, film, and games, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
I don't want to go. I don't want to go, sir. Please. Please, I don't want to go. I don't want to go.